Welcome back to the channel. Let's get started. We obviously have the S&P ripping up today. Um, so we're kind of I want to add some context to what we're looking at here. We thought we might get a pullback and a correction, but you can see the trend is very steep, right? We have a very steep trend, and it looks a lot like the 1990s, the early 1990s, where we just grinded higher, even a little bit like 2017 after the tax cuts, right? 2017 tax cuts, the market continue to climb. So to add that context, let's take a look at a couple charts here. Hopefully the Twitter does not freeze on us. Hopefully it works out. Um, I'm going to pull that up because I want to add context to what we are looking at the moment, right? Okay, let's see if it works. Let me hide myself since this is in the way on YouTube. Just go full screen. Okay. So this is basically what this is a chart of ChatGPT in red whenever the market started to grind up and ChatGPT first came out. We know that the market kind of got saved by technology. It basically bottomed out around when liquidity picked up and when a new technology hit the market. And it looks very similar to 1994 when Netscape first came out. And Netscape was the first web browser, right? And what did we see? This is the chart of the S&P, right? When Netscape did come out, and it just grinded higher all year. There was some pullbacks, there were some opportunities, but it was very bullish. And so we're just looking at, putting up against Netscape and against AOL, which was a little earlier in 1991. We're looking at the trajectory going forward. We had that pullback earlier, and now we're making all-time highs again. So we can continue to keep grinding and grinding and grinding, if the macro stays intact and if these technologies continue to innovate and bring more productivity to the market. So we are in a technological boom at the moment, and that's kind of what's keeping us afloat at the today, right? That's what's keeping us afloat. That's what's keeping the market going on top of the economy recovering to modest levels. Now, the other chart is a presidential cycle. So the other part of the macro is the presidential cycle. We're in the fourth year. So this is basically showing us in the fourth year of a new president. So we're in the fourth year. Typically you have this, this is the path. This is the path in the fourth year of a new president. So we're looking at going into, the correlation is a slowdown. We should be slowing down at some point, maybe March, maybe April. I've been saying the past month, I think it's late February, early March, that we have a pullback. Okay. And it doesn't need to look like this, but some type of slowdown, right? Some type of profit taking. Are the risks really there in the market? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm looking for March, especially now that we're continuing to grind up at a very fast pace. So March, April, we'll see what happens there. The Fed is going to make a decision. Inflation is doing okay. There's a lot of uncertainty still in the market, but we're looking at March. We're looking at April. If you want to see the full charts on TikTok, go ahead and jump on to YouTube. The link is in the description. Okay. So this is what we're looking at. So you add the technology trend, and then you look at this, we should have a strong fourth quarter. Now, the way I'm looking at this is the next pullback is the huge opportunity. We haven't really had a chance. We haven't really seen a chance, right? There hasn't been very many chances to pull back because the market's been grinding so strongly. So um yeah, let's take a look. Well, here's intraday. Here's what we're looking at intraday, right? This was a huge, and just so you guys know, if you are a trader, the S&P has been grinding higher on Thursdays and Fridays. Most of the volume has been coming Thursday, Friday. You're kind of flat on Mondays, but we've been moving the most on Thursdays and Fridays. If you're an investor, you're kind of looking for, or just the bigger term trend, you're looking for that pullback, but it doesn't look like we're going to get it. It looks like we're just going to continue to grind. And then maybe March, there's some profit taking, right? Maybe in March we do, but the market is also widening out, meaning more and more stocks are making 52-week highs. There's a lot of stocks making 52-week highs, and they're not even technology. So overall, we're pretty strong here. Now, again, I've been saying the whole time, I think crypto's still the best opportunity. Now we've had Bitcoin pretty much rip higher, and those charts. Let's go ahead and take a look at what because I think we're in the banana zone for Bitcoin. So obviously, tech going over it. This is the presidential cycle. The second half. Oh, I got to switch back to on YouTube. The second half here, right? You should see, if we do get a correction, the second half of the year is where you get the real strength in context to a presidential cycle. The second half of the year. right? So depending on where we're at, I don't know where we'll be at, but keep in mind we're in the early innings. This is still the early innings of the bull market. This could be a 5-year bull market, it could be a 7-year bull market. There's going to be corrections, but we're still in the early innings according to the data and according to sentiment. And when we go to the the last time we had all these technologies start to come out with AI, blockchain technology, energy storage, and all the fiscal stimulus coming into the market, you had a gigantic move all year long, right? And those pullbacks are your opportunities. So just keep that in context. Now for Bitcoin, we're looking at the banana zone. Okay, so 2011, right? Look how I mean Bitcoin moves much faster and crypto moves much faster than the stock market does. Yeah, Nvidia blew off top. You're going to get a couple of those big tech rallies, but here's where we're at right now with Bitcoin. We're at the beginning of the banana zone, meaning it is still very early for crypto. Okay, now we're not in the accumulation zone no more. I think we're out of the accumulation zone. We're now starting to get into excessive buying, right? Where there's the supply is just not there. The demand is increasing. I think we had the biggest demand flow in Bitcoin's history in the past couple months from the ETF. Large demand. What do we say? The supply is falling. The supply is coming off. The supply cannot keep up with the demand. When you have more demand and the supply is low, Bitcoin booms, right? The crypto in general booms. Oh, Bitcoin, we're going to focus on Bitcoin, but in general, you got to understand demand and supply. This is a very easy way, a very simple way to understand this thing is going much higher. It is going much higher. What's the time frame? I don't know, maybe 2024, the end. Maybe it peaks out early, 2025, 2026. We don't know because we still have monetary policy to worry about. We still got to, where is inflation going to be? Is the economy going to continue to strengthen? Do we have any other tailwinds or headwinds heading into the second half of the year? But for the most part, all these charts, stocks and crypto are showing a lot of strength. I think any pullback, any significant pullback, Bitcoin maybe it's 20%, stocks 5%, right? Stock market, individual stocks 15%, whatever it is, that is the opportunity again. And you don't get these, you don't get everybody thinks we're in a bubble. We're not in a bubble, and we're going to go over the macro to show you that we're not in a bubble, right? There's no recession. All the recessionists, all the people who told you this market's going to crash, the biggest financial crisis, they've been wrong and they're still screaming it, and they'll continue because it's hard to be wrong. It's hard to be wrong, right? Now, the biggest issues in the market after we go over this is the banana zone. You got to take a picture of this in your mind. We're in the banana zone for Bitcoin, right? It hasn't even begun. I mean, the first accumulation zone is over. Now we're going to skyrocket after we probably got a pullback. We'll go over the technicals after we go over the presentation, right? Over the macro. Right now, their biggest risks are the shipping rates, right? We had the Red Sea. Hey, maybe it accelerates, but I think the hot inflation that we saw, we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago, that we would get some inflation pressures to the upside because the shipping rates, the global supply chain shipping rates went up, right? Because you had supply constraints. Supply wasn't able to push through, prices went higher, but they're starting to cool now. So that risk is, cooling down. Okay. The next one is, well, look at inflation overall. When you look at the Fed inflation, because I know a lot of people say, well, inflation is harder than expected, but for the markets, for crypto, for the stock market, that is basically getting its gauge off of the Fed. What is the Fed going to do? And if the Fed inflation gauge, which is personal consumption expenditure, if the Fed's inflation gauge is falling, markets go higher. Okay, markets go higher. Why? Because they're anticipating that the Fed is closer to cutting rates. It's always the fact, and let me know, I think it was Wall Street stock, why it's a bubble. I think somebody said it's a bubble. I mean, I don't think we're close to bubble zone yet, but tell me why it's a bubble. Let me know why you think it's a bubble. We'll talk about that. So yeah, inflation's coming down. So if inflation was moving up and the market was moving up, then I'd say, yeah, we might be in a bubble. But the biggest risk to the market that everybody is afraid of, that was the fear. It's always inflation, moving, accelerating at a high pace. That risk is starting to come off the table, and we're getting closer to cutting rates. The Fed is also talking about, keep in mind, the Fed is also talking about okay, so right now they're removing credit from the system. It's almost like you had a credit card and they take credit off your credit card every single month, so you have less buying power. Well, they're going to slow that down. They're talking about removing or stopping the contraction of credit from the Fed's balance sheet, as in we're going to stop removing money from the market. That is bullish. That means more liquidity will be available in the capital markets, not directly in the economy, in the capital markets, where investment basically takes place. So we have the inflation risks coming down. Now, you also want to look at the economy, right? And this is what we're getting for the economy. Right here in the purple is, well, in green, I guess we can call it green, is real GDP. This is just GDP growth, right? Where's the economy headed? Are we growing? Is GDP moving up? And every single time that you saw the purple line dip, right, which is the LEIs, these are leading economic indicators from a lot of institutions. They put together basically a comprehensive economic report looking at every dynamic: manufacturing, services, employment, all these different factors, interest rates, and they say where are financial conditions. And typically when it does dip down, there's a recession every single time. You can see in the R's up here in the R's, recession, 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 recession. But this time we did not see a recession. Something had changed here. And what I think it was, which we need to keep in mind here, because a lot of people cannot adapt to the market, the Fed stepped in March. That's why we didn't get the recession. March of 2023, we had a banking crisis. The Fed stepped in, they pumped liquidity. They also had the bank term funding program, which we call shadow liquidity. They stepped in. So you didn't get the actual recession because the Fed stepped in. And after they stepped in, did inflation go up? No, it's still falling. So productivity growth is picking up, which means we're not really seeing that inflation. So to, zoom in a little further, basically GDP, the economy is expanding, it's growing, and the LEIs, the indicators from this, from the conference board, you take, it's basically a conference board of CEOs and C suites. It's, to make it simple, the people who are looking at the economy in depth. That's their job. They do this every day. That is in the recovery zone. This is a recession zone, but it's been flat for a while. We've never seen it just stay flat. Nothing happened. Growth is expanding because the Fed stepped in 2023, and we had the AI boom, increasing productivity growth, right? Whatever it is, also dividend cash payments to the baby boomers. The baby boomers, they own most of the wealth. Somebody had an argument with me about this. They own most of the wealth. They have a lot of wealth in cash and fixed income. They're getting paid. They spend in the economy, and the economy stays afloat. So we're growing and it's recovering. The macro is still in the early innings of becoming very strong. I don't even think we're very strong yet. I think it's a little wishy-washy, but we're still expanding, right? Okay, now the ISM momentum, new order. So in the purple, today we had this reading come out. It did pull back, but it is still picking up from the lows, right? So if we look at the last 12 months, which is this square, this is the last 12 months of data. The in the green, what I have here is sluggish, is the durable good order. So X aircrafts, we're not talking about defense because we want to take out military spending, because obviously that is inflationary, right? So we don't, that doesn't tell us really what the consumer is doing. The consumer is still slowing. Obviously, from 2021, you can see things are slowing down. So the consumer, inflation is not coming back by the consumer. Okay, it has to be oil prices, has to be shipping container rates. The consumer is spending pretty good, and we're going to see the consumer also, but growth is pretty sluggish for the consumer. It's not going negative though, right? Negative would be a recession. It's sluggish, not negative. Now we go to the actual momentum from, in purple, momentum from the manufacturing sector, which is the most leading indicator to economies, right? This is picking up. We actually picked up the momentum in January. This reading came down a little bit. So it's still, it's not exploding, but it's showing us early cycle momentum. And we've been saying this forever if you look back on our videos. And the reason I say that, so you can track the business cycle, so you understand you're being told we're in late cycle, we're going to crash, we're going into a recession. There is no evidence of that unless there's a black swan event. And there is no black swan events that we're seeing at the moment. Okay, consumers, how are they doing? Well, we actually had something really healthy happen in January. What was that? Consumer incomes at the top. Huge, huge reading. So consumer incomes picking up, right? At least for this month, that was good. The consumer incomes picked up, but consumer spending came down. So what does that tell you? That consumers are healthier because they have more income. Are they saving the money? Maybe not, but they're not spending as much. What does that say? That tells us don't expect inflation next month or March 13th, which is the next huge data. The next big data read is March 13th. That's inflation rate, CPI, headline and core. I expect that to be sluggish. I don't expect inflation to reaccelerate. You're hearing that. They're telling you that because they want it to be true, but there's no evidence of that unless we get oil prices spiking, unless the shipper containing rates spike, unless you get something weird happen. But right now, things are just slowing. There's a couple bumps in the road. Okay, so the macro is doing pretty well. we have economic strength. All the risk assets are starting to pick up. And this last part here, we're going to look at the charts for this one. Let me look at the comments real quick. If you got a comment, go ahead and throw it in. We are live. Would you say, let's be leaving? I hope there's a pullback sometime before April, May. Bought some SPY puts as a hedge. Okay, hey, be careful with SPY puts. It's very strong. Um, I would go out pretty far. I mean, it's man, the expectations are so negative and they keep getting beat to the upside. It's hard to really short SPY. I thought we would have a pullback. It just never materialized, right? So let me switch back to the charts here, and we'll talk about the actual macro forces, the way that I can read, the way that I read the charts and see, okay, what is actually happening here internally, right? What is going on internally in the markets, or at least from the macro forces or the economic forces, what's going on there? And thanks for joining, by the way. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Let me know your comments. If you disagree, let me know. Prices of eggs doubled in the last 3 weeks. Oh, really? They didn't double here in Arizona. Maybe they are. Ethereum 6K. Yeah. Bitcoin, listen, crypto is on fire. You guys know we've been talking about crypto is going to be the fastest mover or the best performer in this next cycle, which is going to go through 2025, right? I think so. All the indicate, I mean, crypto moves up the most. Anyways, go ahead and comment if you disagree, if you agree, whatever it is. Let me know. We're going to go over more data here so you can see kind of what's going on. So S&P is in this trend. It continues to grind higher. Let's go to SPX. Okay, SPX, basically, here's our next data point. So we could hit off this, trend and maybe get above this trend and get a little hyped and then sell off. I don't know what's going to happen here. We cannot predict the future, but we want to see what might be in store for the future. And if we stay on trend, we could be either getting very vertical into CPI, expecting it to be lower, or maybe we sell off into CPI before and then we go up. I don't know at this point. The market's been very strong. So I'm watching volume weighted average, right? I'm just using anchored VWAP from the last low. We supported it. So from the last pullback, I added an average, anchored VWAP, which is basically volume weighted average, like an average moving, it's a moving average of price, but you add the volume from each week or the volume from each day, right? So it's been supporting that. And the last reading, which was our PCE, personal consumption, everybody thought it was so hot. No, it came out good. It came out pretty well, and the market exploded, right? Market exploded. So that's been doing us pretty well so far. And the peak, we got above the peak. So now we're up a lot. So individual stocks are ripping too, but I'm looking at the overall index because we'll do individual stocks afterwards. Let me just make sure we don't have any more comments. What do we got? What chart are we looking at? This is S&P chicken 3x last 4 months. Whoever's saying eggs and chickens going up, well, what state are you in? What country are you in? The inflation I'm speaking of is basically in the US, right? I know Canadian inflation, other places inflation might be a little higher, but this is in regards to the stock market, not necessarily any single data point, right? I mean, let's say all your other expenses went down and a couple go up, well, we're looking at the macro, right? Overall inflation, or PCE, personal consumption, the Fed's inflation gauge, we're looking at the Fed because this is relative to the market, not relative to your pockets. It's relative to the markets because your pockets and your income will never beat inflation. It'll never outcome inflation. So that's why we invest, right? Because if you invest correctly, you're going to outperform the Fed's printing. You're going to outperform all the chaos and all the, you're going to outperform, not being broke. Well, if you do it right, and I'm not here to tell you how to do it, just giving you an update, giving you some context on why the market might be moving up and what we're looking at going forward, looking ahead. So back to it, the dollar. Listen, the dollar is so important to all these things. Okay, and then we're not done yet, but let's go to the dollar. The dollar is so important. I want you guys to see this on a macro scale. Just think of the dollar as a easing or tightening mechanism. If it tightens, if it goes up, it tightens the market. It gives you, it's a tail or it's a headwind when it goes up. When the dollar moves up, it becomes a headwind. It's harder. You're moving into the wind. It's tougher to move up, right? You might fall down. You might get tired. The market tires. The market gets exhausted when the dollar moves up quickly, right? It can move sideways in the market. It can move up. But if it moves quickly, we do pull back. Let's just throw on the charts. Okay, let's look at the charts. And basically, when inflation did come into the market, the dollar ripped because it's a safe haven asset. The dollar is a safe haven. People get fearful. They fly into US dollars. They cash out because they're afraid that inflation eats up their gains. The market sells off, right? And this has been the trend over the last 3 years. When the dollar comes down, the market actually bottomed. You can see clearly the market bottomed, went up, And when the dollar started to rip up again, right? It's a correlation, not causation, just the correlation we're looking at here. There's a lot of factors that come into this, but the market sold off. Soon as the dollar peaked, right, and came back down, what happened? The market ripped. So you got to pay attention to the US dollar because it is probably the biggest factor to the global economy, the biggest factor to the market right now. Maybe things change. Maybe that relationship does change for a bull market. So, what are we doing when it comes to the market or when it comes to the dollar? Well, it looks like we are starting to wedge. Let me thicken up these lines. Is it hard to see on YouTube? I'm not sure. Well, if you can see the wedge on YouTube, I can't tell. Maybe my screen's off. There's a wedge being formed here, but this is a bearish wedge. Okay. Now, the technical pattern doesn't tell you what's going to happen at all, but we're making lower highs. So when you have this, we can see the trend is starting to change a little bit. Let's get to see if I can make this pivot. So here's our last high, right? And then we kind of made a new high, and I was like, oh shoot, okay, is the dollar breaking out? And we had all the data points, inflation data points, growth data points, GDP just came out. GDP still pretty strong. The dollar could not make a new high. So after we saw all these, after the inflation is so hot, the dollar could not make a new high off that new data. What does that tell me? It's not strong enough. And why might the dollar roll over? Well, typically the dollar weakens when the Fed is coming near to what? Quantitative easing, when the Fed is done hiking rates, when they're ready to ease rates, when they're ready to increase the credit cycle, the dollar rolls over because you're creating more supply of dollars, right? You're creating more demand for stocks and risk assets because if you lower rates, you put more money into the system. That money doesn't stay in dollars. It's going to, because it's inflationary for prices, it goes into risk assets. So what's going to inflate on this next cycle for the Fed? Not your prices, maybe some prices, but not wholly. What's going to inflate is asset prices. So the dollar tells you when it falls, asset prices inflate. That's exactly what we're about to see if this continues. One of the big factors that's been driving markets also has been 10-year treasury yields. In other words, bond rates or bond market rates. What is the bond market? The bond market is the debt. This is a very complicated topic, but what it basically tells you is when the bond market when interest rates rise, so this is the bond market, it controls bonds and it controls interest rates for the market. Okay, when the interest rates go up, it tightens the market. When interest rates come down, the market eases, and we see that same correlation with interest rates. Right, interest rates went up and the market still went up. This was actually ChatGPT when ChatGPT was released, and the Fed actually printed $500 billion to cover up the banks. The market still ripped. There's a lot more reasons for the market to go up than just interest rates going up, right? There's other reasons: growth, profitability, new investments. There's a lot of reasons, but typically if rates get too high, then the market does, rates got a little high here. And I know this is confusing, but the candlesticks are the rates. Once the rates get to a certain level, it's too much for the market and the market does have to ease a little bit. But I still think the dollar is a bigger factor. We'll get to your stocks there, right? We'll get to what you're saying. So, but if rates stay where they're at, okay, if rates do ease and or stay sideways, very bullish. So again, I've been watching rates to say, okay, what's going to happen here after we get all these PCE or after we get all the inflation data for this month. And although inflation ticked up higher than expected, rates did not make a new high. Rates could not get up. What does that tell you? People are still leaning towards risk. They're saying, look, the inflation is not coming back. You might hear it on social media, you might hear it on YouTube. I think those guys are completely wrong because productivity is picking up, which means there's more supply, there's more production versus demand. And if that continues, then you're not going to get inflationary pressures. The only reason, I'll say this again, the only reason we saw inflation tick up, one of the prime reasons was the shipping rates, which we just looked at, right? The Red Sea conflict. If it does accelerate, if it does expand, we could see rates go up again. But the market is much smarter than us and is telling us it doesn't see inflation going forward. It sees growth actually slowing. And we did see durable goods slow. We saw the ISM manufacturing index weaken today. New orders weakened, right? Are they in recession territory? No, they're still accelerating on the long-term trend. They're still in early innings to accelerate, but it's not super strong, right? We're not getting prices explode. So I just want to look at rates real quick. And the whole point of that is oh yeah, our other factor, right? Because these are financial conditions. If interest rates are staying tamed, meaning they're not moving up too fast, then financial conditions are stable. We want these to be stable. We want them to be sideways. If the dollar is moving sideways or lower, we're stable and asset prices go up. The other factor, which is very important, is the price of oil. Now we know nat gas is getting destroyed. Natural gas is not a factor. That's not going to be inflationary. It's very low. It's it broke down a lot. But oil is a bigger factor for sure. Now oil is a little more concerning at the moment because it just broke the 80 level. So this is the concern. If anything, I expect rates and the dollar to recover higher, which would slow down the market. So if you're looking for a correction, if we're talking about a correction here, it's going to come off oil. I think, the probability is that it is oil blows off top, oil goes up higher. That's going to increase prices. That's going to increase shipping container costs. That's going to increase energy costs. Energy costs are very important to the market. And if they go up too high, that's going to strip a lot of earnings. That's going to strip profitability, and your oil and your gas prices go up, right? So we got to we got to stay, you got to stay focused on this. Is this going to break out over 80? Then you might get a little more bias to rates going up, which means the dollar goes up, which means stocks have to stall. It doesn't mean stocks rip lower. It just means they might stall a little bit. You never know what comes next, right? But at the end of the day, those are the three forces you want to look at. Let me go. What up? How you guys doing? Let me go over some of these IWM. Yeah, we're gonna get to this. Um, let's see. Dot is this Forex, Cosmos, Chainlink, long term. I just know I'm only gonna talk about what I understand. Chainlink has the best narrative in my view. I bought it for 400, 2400. Pepe coin. Yeah, the crypto guys are going crazy. I know the crypto guys are going crazy at the moment. Let's take a look here at IWM. Somebody said IWM. Yes, IWM looks good. Now let me tell you why. Let's go through why IWM looks so well. Okay, and this is just a proxy for small cap stocks. They're very interest rate sensitive, right? These are interest rate sensitive. And what are we seeing with interest rates? If we go to short-term rates, which are 2-year interest rates, right? There's a bunch of different interest rates for the market. The Fed's rates are for banks, but these rates are for the market. 2-year rates are falling even faster than 10-year rates. Let me make sure I get this try to get this clear on here. So these are the 2-year rates. You can see the 2-year rates are not making new highs. So IWM is very sensitive to these rates, the 2-year yield or treasury yields. Oh, I know I lose people with that, but this is what IWM is going to be moving off. If these continue to ease and fall, and you can see the weekly candle is now closing below the last high or below the last green candle. So if rates ease from here, small caps have a better chance of moving up. So I would be looking at the 2-year and the 10-year rates, and you can see once once the 2-year yield eased, look at small caps have a big burst higher. Now, yeah, the overall market's moving up too, but it's in response to, oh, okay, inflation is not coming back. Okay, the ISM manufacturing data was weaker this month. That is not inflationary. If anything, that's slower growth, or that is even growth. So we go higher because rates are not rising. The market is looking 12 months ahead. And based off that report, the market's saying, no, there's no way rates are going up. There's no way because inflation is not going higher. And I don't know who's still feeding this crap that inflation's moving up. Uh, when it comes to the market, right? When we're talking about CPI, headline CPI, year over year trend, not 1 month. 1 month doesn't mean much. We're talking about the whole trend. The problem with averages is that it's just an average, meaning price action is always close to it usually. Um, Hood, how do you think if you guys are still in here, go ahead and throw in your tickers. We'll go over some of the tickers. I'm gonna go over the last thing I'm gonna go over here before we do the questions is just looking at Bitcoin, because the supply of Bitcoin is the demand is much higher. So you're getting a very sharp move to the upside because there is way more demand than there is supply, and prices go up when that is the case. So I think this was the largest monthly candle in Bitcoin's history, actually, that we just saw. Okay. Um, and people will still trash Bitcoin because they don't understand it, and it's hard to understand things. That's fine. If you're if you're bullish on crypto, congratulations, we're almost at all-time highs. I believe the last stream we did, we said this looks like we're running to 60,000, and I thought, hey, maybe that's a little too much, and it looks like that was actually an underestimate. And when crypto moves, it moves. When crypto moves, it moves, right? So Bitcoin's already nearing all-time highs at this point, all-time high. And if we close here, I think this will, yeah, we're near the highest close. 65,000 on the weekly chart would be the highest close. If we go to the monthly close, and this just shows you how bullish we are. If we close at these prices, we're actually closing at the highest price point we've ever closed. So Bitcoin's close to closing higher than it ever has on the monthly, right? And the reason you look at the monthly candles is because that's, there can be small upticks in price, but if you're holding that level on a monthly basis over time, that's a stronger level. So if we hold this level, this is the most strength we've actually seen in Bitcoin. Look at that gigantic candle, and we're in the banana zone. We haven't even got started yet. I mean, we're just getting started. The banana, here's the banana, there's the banana. So once we move up and we break out, it's going to be nasty. And that's just Bitcoin. That's the more conservative bet. When you go to the other ones, you're looking at Ethereum. Ethereum had an even bigger move over the past week. Ethereum had a pretty big move. It moved all the way up to this last resistance, which was, and if you want to see the charts better, jump over to YouTube. It's a lot clearer because my camera is only vertical, right? So I can't show you guys everything. You can see all the actual charting. If you jump over to the YouTube, I'd appreciate it. Also, go ahead and like and subscribe and support if you're interested. If you don't care, if you just want to see the content, that's totally fine. So Ethereum ripped to 3,500, big move to the upside. Okay, there's just not enough supply. There's an Ethereum ETF that BlackRock has filed for. So you have the Ethereum ETF coming next. I don't know when, but either way, it'll probably reach all-time highs going into that because it's FOMO. Everybody's watching these charts. Now, be careful. I would never chase. Okay, I would never chase if you're not even in crypto. If you're waiting, wait for the pullback. Always wait for the pullback. There's typically 30, 25 to 30% pullbacks. That's where you get excited. You want to get excited when there's a lot of fear and when people take profits. So my guess just plainly would be coming back to 2,700. Now we might not get there. We might continue to break out because the conditions right now are very good. The Fed might just cut rates in March. Right now, it's our this next meeting. Will they? No, something would have to happen. You know what it would be is another banking crisis. We just saw New York Community Bank have some more issues, so the Fed could cut off that. I don't think they actually cut. If anything, I think they inject more liquidity into the market. If that's the case, Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to break out all-time highs because you're increasing liquidity and they're the risky assets. They feed off that liquidity, right? So my favorite is Chainlink because they have the most. I mean, the trend is just beautiful. This is the best. Other than Solana, I think this is the best looking chart in the market. It's very consistent, right? You're holding the previous high here. You're holding the previous high. You have all the, and matter of fact, ARK Invest just used Chainlink price feeds and proof of reserves. Nobody is using crypto protocols. I mean, no crypto protocol is being used more than Chainlink. I'm just going to say that there is not another protocol, including Bitcoin, including Ethereum, that are being used by the actual financial system. The SWIFT system, the SWIFT central bank messaging system, is using Chainlink's CCIP protocol. Okay, Citibank is using Chainlink CCIP. You got to go look this up for yourself. Don't believe me. This is the most widely used crypto. It's up at $50 over on the Grayscale Chainlink. And I know price is the thing that people look at the most, but do not look, don't get too caught up in all these other coins that don't have a real use case or that are just hype. I mean, you might want to trade them, but if you want security, this is the most secure protocol outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it has the biggest reach out of all other protocols, right? Chainlink. I don't focus on, there's 1,000 coins, but this has the most promising fundamentals by far. It's not even close. So now ARK Invest has actually linked their ETF using the Chainlink proof of reserves on the blockchain. So we're actually getting institutions start to connect to the blockchain using the Chainlink protocols. Very bullish for Chainlink. I know it's like, what does that mean? Well, you'll find out soon when price starts to rip, because that seems to be the only time people actually take a look. So we'll stay up to date on that. Check SMCI. Okay, SMCI. We'll go over the other ones. If you want to look at something, just let me know. SMCI. Man, I don't know what to say about SMCI. I don't know too much about the fundamentals. My guess is it's gonna rip down pretty hard once we have a correction. I think it's very sensitive to correction. I think SMCI will be very sensitive. But on the bullish side, if we do stay above this level, like this is a hard one to actually gauge because it has such FOMO, right? It has a lot of FOMO. So this is, to me, is a lottery ticket. Yes, it has a lot of revenue, and it probably, more than likely, with this bullish market, it probably breaks out again. It probably does break out again. It looks pretty juicy. That is a wedge pattern. A wedge pattern is coming. This is a dragon wedge, so you have the neck like a dragon, then here's the head of the dragon. The dragon's going to breathe fire if it breaks out any further, and it's going to explode again. I don't know how much higher this can go because I haven't studied the fundamentals, but this is on fire. SMCI looks really good. If I had to guess, once you get above, I mean, it's hard to tell you once you get above. I like because these are so volatile. I'd rather see this pull into the anchored VWAP. So let's do volume weighted average. See where it's at. If it does come back into about 850, that'd be a good buy zone. You can chase the breakout, but that's a gamble. That's a gamble because you're going to take a drawdown. It's a better risk reward when it pulls back and finds support than to try to chase the breakout. Right. Those are my views on SMCI. Fundamentally, I haven't really looked into it too much. Polkadot, Cosmos, Chainlink, long term, bot 40. What up, Dima Yush? I see you in there. Haven't seen him for a while. How do you think about OAMV Interactive? Have no clue what that is. Overactive Media Corporation. Have no clue what that is. Um, yeah, I don't know what that is, bro. BBAI. What up? Do your own research. Big Bear AI is a compute vision biometrics company. They just bought another. Send me the ticker. I don't know who that is. It's a pretty strong market. Just the last 3 years, it had exploded. Now people are getting excited, so you definitely want to be careful. Individual stocks can run. I mean, we talked about AMD last week going to about 200. Boom, 200. We're there, right? It consolidated. It had a nice trend. And this was really hard to enter, but you had a little wedge, you had a little pullback, and it just exploded. But these are hard to get into, which is why I say wait for the pullback into support, right? Make sure it holds that support, have a tight stop. Or if you're just an investor, you just want it, you want it to get wrecked if you're trying to invest in these things, right? But it is a pretty bullish market. Your best risk reward, okay, let's just go to the cues. The best risk reward is when you do have or when you see a lot of fear, when you do get the pullback into the trend. Maybe we do, maybe we don't, but if you do get a rip lower, I think it's coming in March. Okay, I said late February, early March. We have the bank term funding program, which is a liquidity support to the market, to the financial, not financial conditions, but it is a liquidity support for banks, for regional banks. And it's going to end March 11th. My guess is there's going to be some volatility going into that because it is also right before inflation. So I'm thinking next Friday, we keep moving up. Maybe next Friday we have a sell off. I do not know. I do not know, but I do know that we are in a very tight uptrend and there are going to be pullbacks. There are going to be small corrections. I don't think we have a big correction unless there's a surprise. And when you get that big correction, that's when you go shopping. You want to buy it on sale. You don't want to buy it when it's up too much, right? All right. How about Dogecoin? What do you think? I am not. I'll just tell you about Dogecoin. Nah, Dogecoin has no fundamentals. It's a trade. If you want to gamble, go with Dogecoin. It is a gamble. It probably goes up. Maybe it doesn't. It's probably a gamble. And what do we say about XRP? If you stayed, if you guys keep up with the content, and I know I haven't been doing too many streams. I've told you XRP probably doesn't make it back to all-time highs. And I mean, how accurate have we been? XRP is not moving at all. Why? Because the protocol is dead. The use case for XRP was and people are still believing this. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. I'm pretty confident about this, which is their bet was that all the institutions would connect to XRP blockchain, right? Instead, the institutions are creating their own private blockchains and they just need a connector, a link to link to each other. They're not going to use XRP, and therefore you do not see XRP moving up. And actually, all the alphas going into Solana, it's going to Ethereum, Bitcoin, altcoins are going higher. But XRP is a pretty big market cap. It's not moving up because the use case is pretty much disappeared. The same with Dogecoin. It doesn't really have a use case. The reason it pumped is because Elon Musk pumped it. Maybe he pumps it again. We'll see. Oh, Dell. Oh, yeah, that's right. Dell had a pretty good earnings report. I think they beat revenue by like 400%. So this will be a good second day play here. It gapped up and sold off. It did sell off. It gapped up, but this is this is really clear if you're going to trade it or whatever. If it holds this level, if it can hold this level, I'm pretty sure that's hard to see on YouTube, huh? Let's go in here. So this is a reversal candle. This is basically a reversal candle. So people are going to be watching to see if it can break out or break down. It's pretty tight here. Over 125 probably breaks back out, and then we'll see if we can get above 131. Actually, let's see what Dell looks like on a shorter time frame just today. Okay. So yeah, once Dell gets above 125, just look for volume to come in. If a lot of volume starts to pick up, it's probably going to break out back here. Maybe it has a little more consolidation. And then once it gets above 130, it's probably going to explode because they definitely surprised investors. They surprised the market. They surprised Wall Street with the earnings beat. It gapped up tremendously. So people took profits. That's all that was. It gapped up. They took profits and new buyers are going to come in. A lot of people probably been holding Dell. They're like, dang, okay, finally made some money. So we'll see how Dell plays out over time. But yeah, Dell's on fire. It'll probably break out again. I mean, this is one of the narratives, right? Semiconductors, chips, AI. All this is one of the narratives. Definitely, you want to keep your eyes on the narratives that are hot, not the narratives you wish were hot, right? Unfortunately, EVs don't look too good right now. I still think Tesla is a force to be reckoned with because the energy storage business is growing the fastest, and that's one of the biggest needs in the entire world, which is lower energy cost, right? So I still think Tesla's doing well fundamentally, but it's not on fire yet. We'll see. I think we get a gap up on Monday, actually. So we could talk about Tesla later, but just got my first 1K. Any good recommendations for stocks? Um, hey, congratulations. I don't really want to give advice for that because it's financial advice and you're not supposed to give financial advice. I'll tell you what I would do. I mean, if you want to bet on the future, bet on something that you believe in, do your own research. I'll tell you my top stocks: Tesla, Palantir. Tesla because of robotics, AI, um, electric vehicles, full self-driving going forward. Palantir is the best, in my view, pure AI play. Yes, Microsoft's up there, but those are oversupplied. They might go up a little higher. They're not going to make the bigger moves. They're safer, but they're not going to make a big move like Tesla or like Palantir. And trust me, Tesla is going to fly pretty soon. I don't want to say pretty soon, but it will eventually, right? It's going to go up. It's still a force to be reckoned with. It's just being suppressed at the moment. Um, and then when it comes to crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum made a big move. I like Chainlink. Solana is gonna rip also, but I like Chainlink the best. Those are my views, not financial advice. What about Mara? Okay, we did have Mara on the watch list, I believe. Let's see what it looks like. We had Mara on the watch list. Support and resistance. Looks like it has a little cup and handle here. Let's go to the daily. Okay, so Mara, best opportunity here would probably be a support back at this level. Again, I don't like to chase breakouts. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but your major support level, the immediate support is about $23. So if it can come back and hold 23, looks pretty good, right? But Bitcoin is up a lot. It might even jump further this weekend and then have a pullback, and Mara is going to have a pullback. It just didn't run, right? It did not run. I think MicroStrategy ran the most. Um, think MicroStrategy is just on fire. Plus, there's a gigantic short squeeze. A lot of the float is short, so they're getting squeezed. So this move kind of happened. The juice kind of got squeezed, right? If you missed Bitcoin earlier, the juice kind of got squeezed. It can squeeze further, but you don't want to you don't want to chase the juice. You want to wait till everybody gets scared again and it rips lower. You do not want to chase the juice. Don't chase the juice. Do not recommend that. And let's see what else we got here. Solana, Chainlink. Try to keep up with these. Shiba Inu is better gamble. Yeah, those are gambles. Dogecoin is a gamble. Shiba is a gamble. They could, those projects can fail at any time. You can print. You just got to be, if you're a crypto expert, then you're probably not asking me for advice. If you're a trader, you're not asking me for advice. But if you don't know, those are gambles, and more than likely, you're going to get burned 80% of the time. So be careful. Can you do TA on oil? WTI? Yeah. WTI is WTI. There we go. WTI looks pretty good. Now, me personally, I don't think fundamentally that it's going to have a strong breakout. If it does break out, if WTI does break out, if oil does break out, which it really can. Okay. It looks good. Like this is technically it can break out. I've been bearish on oil for a while and I've been wrong a couple times. I thought it was bearish here, came back up, made a new high, but it still got stopped at this 80 level. So WTI, if you see, I mean, you probably watched this chart already. This is a huge breakout zone for oil. I don't think it gets too goes up too much because from what I've heard, there's a guy named Paul Sankey. Paul Sankey. Go listen to his videos. Go listen to him explain about the oil market. Okay, it's complicated. I am not an expert on oil. I look at the trends, I listen to other people, but there's a lot of resistance at about 83, 83.50, and it could break out for sure. Um, but the word on the street is that Saudi Arabia will flush the oil market if it goes any higher. They want to keep it here. This is kind of the golden zone where they make the most money. If it goes up too much, demand falls, right? If oil goes up too much, demand falls. It slows down economies, certain economies. So they want to keep it around 80. So they might flood the market. I don't know though. So just keep that in mind. You always want to keep in mind the macro. Go look at Paul Sankey. Don't take it from me. Do your own research, but listen to Paul Sankey, what he has to say about the oil market. If it does break out, I mean, I think it quickly moves to about 83. I think it'll move to 83. You probably want to see a break and retest, not just a chase, but a break retest the same level, because I think 80 is about the level. Break and retest, and you want it to hold, hold that level. I'd even say it could probably hold here around 78, 78.50. Somewhere between 78.50 and 80 is where you want to see oil hold, not make a new low, and then take off. US, I mean, it's the same chart. USO oil, it's the same chart pretty much. Is that the ticker? Oh, I guess it is. Yeah, it's the same chart. It's the same chart. This is your breakout point, and it has a very nice breakout pattern. This is a breakout pattern. It looks like it's going to close at 80. So it's the same chart, right? $80, same thing. Um, Probably your next resistance is about 83, 82.50 to 83, 83.50. And then it maybe 85. We'll see. But is there a real catalyst to get oil higher? The ISMs are still slowing, so I don't think so. Once China comes back online, once China's manufacturing economy starts to really ramp up, then oil should move to about 90. But right now, they have a real estate crisis. Most people are caught in the real are invested into real estate, and they're not building anymore. They've overbuilt. They have a bunch of ghost cities. So when China, when they cough, they say when China coughs or sneezes, everything goes up or down. Not down. Not this time. It's the U.S. But either way, once China comes back, you're gonna have a lot of demand, but they're just not back yet. So I think it can move to 83. I don't know if it goes much higher unless there's some other risk into the market. Now, if you get the Houthis stopping up, oil supply, then oil probably flies back to, what do we got here? About 90. Probably goes to 90 if the Houthis are able to stop the delivery of supply, because then you're going to constrain the supply and the price is going to go up and the interest rates go up. So it's a whole macro thing. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. What else we got here? You sold 13,000 XRP split into ICP and LCX. Okay. ICP, be careful with ICP. We did a lot of research on it. Internet computer might be a scam. It has very, very ambitious. Um, it's trying to do some ambitious things. Okay. But they're near impossible. They'd have to shut down Amazon AWS. They're trying to be like an AWS, a new web. Be careful. I'm just saying, be careful. Don't get too big in those things. They could go to the moon, but they've got diluted so bad. ICP's got diluted so bad. You really got to be careful. Good luck to you. I still think the safest one is Chainlink. Solana, Chainlink, ICP are better to me than XRP. I agree. Principal, is it Principies? Yeah. I'm so over XRP. I've been accumulating since 2020. Yeah, look, I'm sorry, but XRP just doesn't have the use case, and it's all hopium at this point. I hope it goes up and helps. I hope people make money on it. I'm just trying to be realistic about it. Um, ICP is a good one. Maybe ICP has changed something, but from the last time we've done the research on ICP, it's going to be really, it's not really that decentralized because there's not enough servers around the world. There's not enough adoption. I'd have to have my brother, who's a computer researcher or a computer scientist, to come in and explain. But ICP is really tough. If they do happen to um, make some progress, then it's gonna moon. But I don't know. You got to really track the progress. Make sure you find all the criticisms of it, and don't just believe all the hype, because that's how people lose a lot of money. They believe all the hype and things, they get screwed over. It's happened to all of us. It's happened to me definitely. I like Aave also. Yes, XRP is. Yep, yep. Okay. don't gotta say too much about that. What are you using to mark up and look at this? Oh, this is TradingView. I'm just using TradingView. Nothing special, TradingView. Um, yeah, it's just TradingView. Let me see. Let's go to we'll just stay here. AERO. What is this? AERO. Why did this change to what is I don't even know what this is. Why is it this is aerospace stocks, birds of steel. I don't know what that is. There's not even candles for this. That's weird. I don't know. TradingView can't pick that up. I don't know what that is. Aave was a good. We talked about Aave coming back and hitting support. I like Aave. It looks like it's forming a nice little wedge here. So if it does come back down a little bit into this anchored VWAP, and this is a lending borrowing protocol. So it would replace a lot of lending and borrowing in the financial system. They're using Chainlink's proof of reserves and Chainlink CCIP to connect to institutions. So Aave is looking good. Waste of time and money trading stocks. It is. It actually is. If you don't know what you're doing, you are wasting time and money trading stocks unless you're very ambitious and you want to be a professional trader, which is most people do fail. It's a big learning curve. So you could be right. It is probably a waste of time for most people. Been accumulating Doge and Shiba and selling it all, including all crypto this bull market. Uh, hey, I think it would be smart to Doge and Shiba. I wouldn't bet on it. Um, you're selling all crypto this bull market. I don't know what you mean by that. The bull market's just getting started. I'd say we're in phase one, or in other words, if you have 9 innings, we're in inning number 3. I think we're barely in inning number 3. We still got 6 more innings to go. Let's see. I'm skeptic of ICP. Yeah, I'm skeptical of ICP too. I used to own it. I bought it when it was so low, still kept falling. All right, let me try to keep up with these TikTok comments. If you're on YouTube, throw in a comment, ask a question. Let me try to catch up to these really quick and get through them. Let me try to get through them. Okay. I wish they had AI to read this to us, read the comments so we could respond. Okay, dang, wait till 2025. Parabolic moves are going to be amazing. You're going to wait till 2025. The banana zone is just starting to take off, my brother. Samoan Irwin. Yeah. The banana move on the next pullback is probably where all the alpha's at. Why would you wait till 2025? What are you believing here? I mean, I'm not trying to say you're completely wrong, but the data, the charts tell us that, you know, we're already blowing up. Well, I mean, if you wait till 2025, Bitcoin might be already, I think it hits all-time highs this year. So 2025, Bitcoin's probably going to be at 100K by then. That would be my guess. Or it comes back to 60K where it's already at. We'll see. We're going up forever. I'm bullish. NMT. What is NMT? NMT. Tell me why. What is that and why? Yo, what you think about Doge? Trash. You want to know what I really think? I'm just going to keep it clear if you're just jumping on. Dogecoin, Shiba Coin, trash. If you want to trade it, if you want to gamble, go for it. Have fun. But they are trash. They do not have fundamental principles, and they're going to fail you. So you could get lucky, but you don't want to be betting on luck, right? Especially if you're new. I need those bullish people to liquidate my positions near the top. What else we got here? Yeah, Dogecoin trash, bro. Check out Chainlink, Ethereum, Aave. The graph is doing pretty well right now. The graph is an indexing protocol. It's mooning at the. I mean, this thing's been a monster ever since it. I actually got shooken out of this, right? I think I bought on this pullback. I got shooken out. I got a little scared. I was like, you know what? Let me just go all in on Link, and it's up 140% since that pullback. So the graph is a monster. They call it the Google of crypto. It's not really the Google, but they index data the way that Google indexes data for crypto, meaning everybody's going to need to use the graph protocol in order to start indexing if they want to create a new type of strategy or a new protocol, a new what are the words for? I'm not a computer science. A new computation. You need indexing to create computation, and the graph is the monopoly when it comes to that. So they're the best in class, right? I only talk about the best in class. This is the best in its class, right? The total addressable market, I don't know how big it is. I'll tell you this: if it does pull back here, and there's an opportunity. I'm probably gonna buy more. I got shooken out. I messed up. I lost on it. I lost some money, and I just went in on Chainlink because I'm seeing the opportunity for Chainlink is much bigger than everything else in my view. But the graph's another pretty good one, and it's very small. It's like 30 cents right now. So if it comes down to 15 cents, should be pretty nice. MicroStrategy is that mainly about analyzing data with AI. MicroStrategy just holds a lot of Bitcoin. I mean, their business isn't that great. It doesn't grow much, but they just hold the most Bitcoin. That's why they're going higher because they hold Bitcoin because there's a bunch of shorts, meaning people are shorting the stock. They have to buy it back. They get squeezed, meaning they have to buy back the stock to cover their losses, and it goes higher. Will BTC break all-time highs? Of course it will. The question is when. The question is when. I mean, look how quick we got up here. We are due for a pullback. Realistically, maybe that pullback is back into this consolidation here, right? Maybe we come back to 5,200. Very probable we come back to 5,200 and we start to climb the ladder, right? Because we were in this trend, we broke out of the trend. Now we're getting parabolic, so we could break back. We could just break out too. So Bitcoin is hard to predict. It's better to wait for a nasty pullback than to go chasing it. Don't let FOMO and your emotions take you over. Wait for the fear to come in and watch your zones. I think 52K is that next zone. If something really bad happens in the overall market, it could rip back down to 40, but I don't think it goes any lower than 40. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, of course it goes back to all-time highs. What's the best coin? Do I think me personally, I think the best coin outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum is Chainlink. Bar none, hands down, not even close. I think it is Chainlink. If you want to read about Chainlink, actually go to my channel. I have a couple things on Chainlink on my TikTok channel, but I would go do your own research and go see what Chainlink is about. It's connecting the entire private blockchain, which are JP Morgan, Citibank, Swift, all the central bank systems, all the systems that deal with money transfer, trade. They are connecting. They want to become a blockchain and they have to connect with each other. They have to interoperate, and Chainlink is the only thing that can connect them all securely. So they're all going to be using Chainlink in the future. That is the goal. That is the goal. And right now it's being executed. They are going live in 2024. So they're going to be transferring all the data. It's like Web3 cannot happen without Chainlink. Right? DeFi cannot happen without Chainlink. It is the most widely used crypto in the crypto industry. And now it's going to be the most widely used crypto in the Web 2 or the TradFi system. An actual use case. We're not talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a store of value. It is digital gold. Ethereum is a platform where you can build all kinds of protocols. Chainlink connects the whole web. Chainlink connects everything together. It's hard to understand, which is why it's not very sexy. So people really don't know too much about it. But when it rips, everybody's going to chase it. Shiba Inu is making a run. Nice. Shiba coin making a run. Okay. Dogecoin up 15%. Mostly the question is when. 100%. Okay, I already answered that. How do you spell that? Man, these things come in way too quick. BTC Cash is more of a medium exchange than Bitcoin. Yep. Super Ngala. Super Ngala. No clue. Don't even know what that is. There's too many cryptos out there. I wouldn't mess with them unless I understand. I'm not going to talk about something I don't understand. I can chart it. I can look at the chart, but I'm not going to speak on something I don't get. Right? That's foolish. Solana, AVAX. Yeah, I like Solana, AVAX. I think AVAX and Solana are definitely legit. What's your opinion on ARKM? I don't even, is that a stock or a crypto? ARKM. I don't know what that is. Probably a crypto. I don't really have an opinion on it. If it is a crypto, because there's too many out there. But Chainlink can't scale, so it's just a quick pump and dump. Okay. Chainlink can't scale. That's hilarious. I would say this. If Chainlink couldn't scale, then the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation for the United States Central Bank, right? They clear all the transactions for equities, for commodities, for U.S. Treasuries. They make sure everything is legal, right? They make sure everything is correct on the ledger. They are integrating Chainlink into their system. and so is the Swift network, which is the biggest messaging system. Whenever the US, okay, puts a sanction on somebody, they cut them off from the Swift network. That's what the sanction is. Well, guess who's using Chainlink CCIP? The Swift network. So if they couldn't scale, they wouldn't be using them. So you're probably reading a false narrative, buddy. Am I taking it personal? Of course I am. No, I'm just kidding. You just got to go look it up, bro. Uh, if they couldn't scale, yeah, that would be an issue for sure. I'm pretty confident they can scale. They're already scaling. I mean, Citibank is using them. Um, they can scale. The question is does the question is does the financial system convert to a public protocol, or do they just use their own blockchains? And that's the real question there, which is really technical question. Whoa, what's going on here? Inactivity. That's weird. Let's see. What do you think of Bitcoin Cash? I wouldn't mess with it. Nah, I wouldn't mess with Bitcoin Cash. I don't think none of those really work. I mean, they might stay up. Bitcoin Cash might move up, but I think Ethereum and Bitcoin. I mean, I could be wrong. I haven't looked at Bitcoin Cash for a while. I haven't really looked into Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin. So I don't really know, bro. But my guess is, what is the ticker for Bitcoin Cash? Is it just, I don't even know what the ticker is. Bitcoin Cash. I don't even know what the ticker is to that. I wouldn't mess with it personally. What's a good small coin to buy? Depends on small coin. Can't give financial advice. Compounds is straight. Look, I'm not gonna say all these random coins. The only coins I would even consider right now, and there's probably others. There's AVAX, there's Solana for sure, but Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, the Graph, and Aave. Not even Uniswap. Uniswap might fail. Polkadot cannot compete with Ethereum. Ethereum is the dominant protocol when it comes to layer one. Solana is competing pretty well. I'm not a big fan of Solana, although I think it rips this cycle. Um, let's see where Solana is at. Yeah, Solana is about to. Yeah, Solana just made new highs. Okay. Yeah, Solana is starting to rip. So that's what I'd say. Compound. Not a fan of Compound, even though it's solid. Chainlink is an oracle. It's not a layer one platform, and Link still uses EVM, which can't even scale. Man, you were badly mistaken, Mr. Dabosky. Very badly mistaken. Link is an oracle. Link is actually a decentralized computing network for computing services. So again, like I said, you got to go look up the actual evidence yourself. You probably here's Link probably challenges whatever you believe in, so it's hard to accept it. But we'll find out. Just come back to the chat when you actually see it getting integrated. And like I said, it's integrated with. It has the most integrations out of any institution. It has the most institutional adoption out of the other chains. So I think you're sadly wrong about that. Let me see what else we got. The make a distinction between the protocol and the token. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, if you want to get all technical, I'm not really here to get super technical on it. It's going higher, right? There's an endless amount of ways to measure these coins and these protocols. Crypto's a wild west. So I'm not really going to go super technical because I'm not a super technical, like understanding the tokenomics and all that. That's not what I'm doing. I do my research and I know what's solid. I mean, I believe I know what is solid and what is not. But yeah, there's a difference between the protocol and the token for sure. Both have games. Cardano, I'm not a fan of Cardano. I don't think Cardano makes it. Probably goes up. How high do you think Chainlink goes for this bull market? I think between 100 and 200. That's somewhere between 100 and 200. There's a range. Nobody knows exactly. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Cardano because Cardano has to compete with Polkadot, Ethereum, and usually these spaces are winner take all. So I'm not. There might be nice trades, but you just never know when the rug gets pulled on them. You just never know, or they just don't materialize, kind of like XRP. What chain link they are 10 on Trust Wallet? What chain link? LINK link. On old cryptos, don't waste your time on old cryptos. Yeah, they just didn't make it, a lot of them. What about Ripple? Nah. Is BTC going to the moon? Of course. We need oh, yeah, make a distinction. API 13, look up ELA, what chain, Trust Wallet. Is BTC going to the moon? Yeah, but wait, I wouldn't chase it. Wait for a nasty pullback. What else we got on here? Just crypto talk. Is that all you guys talk? What range would you give compound? Can you look at the chart? What is the ticker for compound? I don't look at compound. I try to stay focused on the stuff that I do understand. I can look at the technicals. If you want to see the technicals, let me know. I'll do the technicals. Just throw the ticker in there though. Don't tell me the name, throw the ticker in because I can't memorize every ticker. I just have the tickers that I have. Is it comp? Okay. Let's see compound. Well, it is breaking out. Compound looks pretty good. Definitely breaking out. So the way I would, if I was interested in compound, I'd probably just look at this previous resistance and I would want to see. And remember, cryptos are very hard to forecast technically because they move so wild. So I'd want to see some support back at this level. And it could just go like this, right? I don't know. But right now, with Bitcoin up so much, you have two scenarios. Bitcoin either gets destroyed, comes back down about 50K. These are going to come down. Or everything rotates out of Bitcoin, not out of completely, but there's a rotation out of Bitcoin and the alts just explode. There's a 50-50 chance both of those happen. We don't know. We just don't know, right? We might get a rotation though. Especially with the stock market so hot, it is risk on right now. This is a risk on market. So unless there's some type of liquidity issues, I think Bitcoin probably and Ethereum rotating a couple of the alts, start pumping the alts. We all going to the moon, excited. Yep. What range would you give compound? Oh, okay. So you wanted the range. My bad. I don't know enough about compound. I mean, to be honest with you, it's really hard to tell. Anybody that tells you they know or for sure, I don't know, bro. Because it depends on what is the market cap of compound at the moment. Can it get back to the all-time high? I don't know. I really don't know. I'd need to see the market cap because the bigger a crypto project is, the harder it is for it to get back to the all-time high. Most cryptos never got back. Most cryptos died. They never got back to all-time highs. So it's really tricky. I'm not going to say I know. I can just show you the resistance levels, right? I don't know enough about the project. The project really does matter. It's not like the Magnificent Seven where Microsoft, Amazon, AWS, Google, like these are still very early, very risky projects. So I don't know, but I'll show you the levels. I mean, these are the levels pretty much for compound at the moment. Stair step these levels. This is a nice move to the upside. Actually, Cardano is using Polkadot to add interoperability since no one uses Cardano. Okay, cool. Yeah, you probably know more about Cardano. I tend to just focus on Chainlink because typically, the way I see it, this is a winner take all space, and I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of winners in the long term. So I stay focused on the things that I get that make sense to me, that have the widest adoption, that are monopolies in their field. I don't want to mess with nothing else. Unless it's a trade, unless it's a fun trade. That's just my view. Um, what Chainlink is Chainlink link token? I mean, it's just AMD. Okay, AMD. You want to look at AMD? Man, AMD just broke out. I missed a bunch of comments. Man, there's too many. These comments come in way too quick. AP13 is the Chainlink I can't say that word K. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, cool. You're definitely I mean that's why people are going to end up chasing it. I really doubt that. AP13, come check in with us in about 6 months. We'll see if it ever does take over Chainlink. And again, just looking at the fundamentals, right? Chainlink has all the partnerships. It has all the data. It has the strongest fundamentals. So AP13 has a long way to go. AMD, let's see. AMD on fire. I was just talking to a guy about AMD exploding to 200 based on this move. Um, it's tough. It's tough because these things are very overextended, right? Look at the RSI; they're overextended, but when the market is this hype, they tend to just keep grinding higher. Um, but initially, let's find where the support and resistance is. Oops, what the heck was that? All right, let's see where we're at here. You got some well, this is a 30-minute. I wouldn't take that serious. Um, Golly, this thing ripped. I think it's just up too much at this point. It'd have to be like a quick trade, but I don't know if you want to swing AMD unless it comes back to fill the gap at 192. That'll be nice. 192 or somewhere around 190, 188. But it's just up a lot. I mean, it could probably break out and go even further. Definitely could do that, of course. But I mean, actually with this consolidation, it might go to 220. The bigger the consolidation, the bigger the breakout. So it could make a move to 220. That is very true. Okay. They use institutions will use protocol doesn't mean the token will fly. Oh, I see what you're saying. Your resonance about the protocol versus the token. Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying. So the execution would need to be that the execution for Chainlink would need to be that they're able to integrate. Well, you would have to know the dynamics. If they use the protocol, then the protocol they would need to actually also buy Chainlink or use Chainlink. So we'll see how it comes together. You might be right. Chainlink could be super widely adopted and the token doesn't fly, right? I'm not going to bet on that, but that is that's a possibility. That's a possibility, which is why it's better to be long at the beginning of a bull market. If you get long at the end of a bull market, nothing really materializes, right? So that's why I'm always like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then you scale down, um, because yeah, the protocol might be adopted, but maybe the token doesn't go up as much, or they dilute the token. That's always a possibility for sure. It's not my belief, but it is a possibility. You have to buy Chainlink token to use Chainlink protocol. Oh, yep, true. API. What is API 3, bro? I'm pretty sure that is not a. Is that the ticker? Oh, it is API 3. That's weird. Okay, so this is what you wanted me to look at. This looks nasty. This looks sloppy. It's climbing. Probably has a small market cap, huh? Um, there's not much to chart on here. These things these are really sloppy price action. You can see there's a buyer for sure. I mean, there's a big buyer, but I don't know how big the market cap is. I would say that yeah, once it breaks the trend, once it breaks this trend, maybe it lifts a little bit. I don't know the fundamentals either. Again, these protocols change on a daily basis. The crypto space is the most innovative by far. Other than AI, it changes quickly. So I don't know enough about this, but definitely let's go to the weekly. It looks like it can make it back to all-time highs. It's not too far away, depending on the market cap. So I don't know enough about API, AP3 AI or whatever it is. What is it? API 3. Yeah, API 3. Don't know too much about it. AMD, we just went over AMD, looks good. Ajax, not sure. What Chainlink, Ethereum, Chainlink B? Oh yeah, I already read that. Okay, let me try to go down. Gala, don't know about the fundamentals. Um Palantir is pushing for a break on the daily chart. Palantir looks good. Oh yeah, Palantir's trying to break again. I think Palantir has some. I mean, they have the fundamentals. Palantir, best pure AI play. It'd be great for it to pull back, but I'm not sure. The way it's looking, looks like it's gonna rip again. This would be, in my view, a better risk reward than AMD if it holds this 23 level. It needs to hold the 23 level. Then it looks pretty good. Um, but I mean, AMD probably like AMD is going to be a nice trade, but that's like AMD is pretty much it's hard if you're a beginner, you're probably going to get, confused. You're probably going to get ripped up a little bit. It is definitely not a beginner stock. Appreciate it, your resonance. I know, bro. I got to answer shorter. I'm not used to answering short. I always want to like go in depth. I'm sorry. I need to work on that. I need to work on that. All right, let me practice now. What your BTC predictions after the halvening? I think BTC goes to at minimum. I'm gonna say 150. Could if it goes crazy, it could probably go to what is this? If it goes crazy, probably goes to 250. That's my thoughts on that. AP3i competing with the Chainlink. Tell us about Chainlink. Why are year one? Okay, I'll tell you about Chainlink. Crypto. I'm not a big crypto trader. I wouldn't trade crypto. I'm not either. I'm more of an investor. It depends on how hot the market is. Allows users to borrow interest from lending cryptocurrencies and then lives on theory. Compound. Okay. Tesla. Oh yeah. We got to do Tesla. We'll do Tesla for sure. We're gonna do Tesla. That's what I've been watching the most. New project, unknown performance potential. Look at Jupiter Exchange, Solana Trade, right? Radium. Chainlink has the best institutional use, but it hasn't driven the tokenomics yet. Yeah, they reduced the supply like in last time. I think a lot of people got mad because they increased the supply to pay for something. It's complicated. I would follow a couple dudes on Chainlink God. There's a guy named Chainlink God, and there's a guy named what is his name? Catfish. What is it? Fishy Catfish? Fishy Catfish on Twitter. They explain everything about Chainlink in depth, super in depth. They debate people all the time. Yeah, we'll do Tesla. What did I make today? I didn't really trade. I didn't really trade today. Did not really trade today. I wanted to trade S&P, but I'm doing some stuff on the side. I'm working on some stuff. I don't trade every day. I'm trying to load up on Tesla, to be honest with you. I'm trying to find a good entry. It's been tricky. It's probably been the hardest Mag 7 stock to trade right now. But I think we're getting closer to a gap up. I do appreciate your answers. Your lives are great. Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for your support. What about Zero Bat? Not sure. I just lost 125 in the morning. Okay, let's go over Tesla. We're gonna go over Tesla last. Last thing on Tesla, right? So Tesla obviously is has had some very negative sentiment. Okay, because there's a theory, or not a theory. There's a whole, well, EVs are not being adopted. Teslas are still being adopted. It is not Tesla that has an issue. It's the EV industry. And basically, Tesla cut prices so much to get the price down. They need to convert the price cuts into demand. That didn't actually materialize the way they expected it to, right? So we'll find out going forward the deliveries. That's going to be your next catalyst is the deliveries for Tesla. Actually, we need to look into that. When Tesla deliveries come out, that's going to give us how much volumes, tell us how much volumes coming in. But it's slowly grinding back up. And I want to point this out on the daily chart. Let me zoom out. I guess I can't really zoom out too much, right? Once Tesla gets above this RSI, let's go ahead and look at this RSI. Once you get above this momentum range for the RSI, it makes a pretty significant move. And we're coming from an oversold territory. So on a technical basis, the momentum is picking up quickly for Tesla, right? It happens every time. Once you come from the lows, you cross that middle bound on the RSI, which is the buying pressure. It picks up tremendously. You need a bad catalyst to knock off the momentum. It is also the most shorted stock in the stock market as far as market cap, which tells you when it does run, it is going to rip like it always does. It is trying to recover right now. Now, this could be a bear flag and it breaks down, right? Right now, it's been holding the support. Let's go to the 30-minute chart. So far, it's been holding the 198.50 level very consistently, right? And this was previously let's get rid of this. This was previously a resistance that turned into support, right? So I'm watching Tesla. We got to hold if we get under 198.50, I'm out. I think I'm out. And sometimes it'll trick you. It'll get below and then rip back up. But I'm not going to be too interested. So here we go. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Got through the level, held the level here, held it again, held it again, held it again. So we've been holding 185.50 consistently for Tesla. Oh, I'm sorry, 198.50, 198.50, and the intraday price action is disgusting. Like it is shaking everybody out. So I know a lot of people are getting punked out. Tesla's one of the hardest stocks to trade, 100%. If it does break below this level, it probably does something like this. It gets rejected and it comes back to the anchored VWAP. I'm watching this support on the anchored VWAP, right? I'm watching the anchored VWAP support. So if it gets under here, I'll look back to see if it has support here. If it doesn't, I'm not even interested anymore, and I'll wait till it rips back down to 175. And that might happen with the market pullback. But if the market continues to grind, we also might get a gap up. Now, one interesting thing about Tesla is it has on average there's actually let me just go ahead and pull this up. Let's see if I could pull this up. Edgeful. So there's this new trading um TSLA. There's this new software that I've been looking at that I've been using, and it kind of tells us when Tesla makes a big move. See if I can do it correctly. Typically, the biggest moves on Tesla are happening on Mondays. It's making its biggest moves on Mondays. Let's see, Monday, $9. Yeah, here we go. So this is kind of the data. See, I don't know if you guys can see it, but Mondays it usually has its biggest move. It has the second most volume because price and volume are a little different, but it's typically having the biggest range on a Monday, right? Oh, we can't see that on YouTube. Sorry, I didn't. It's too much information. I'm actually going to interview the guy who does this, so we'll do it later. But anyways, Tesla's been having its biggest moves on Monday. This software kind of tells me what's going on with the data on S&P. This works way better with S&P right now. Tesla's kind of wild, but I do know Tesla has been moving on Monday. So let's go ahead and check what do Mondays look like, right? Um, let's see. Here was Tuesday. Now we skipped this day because there was no Monday here. This was what, President's Day or something? I don't remember. So there was no Monday here, but the first day of trading, it had the biggest move to the downside. And then the next Monday, here we go, Monday, February 26th. Yeah, 26th, boom, big move. This is the move that got us back above 198.50. Okay, it was a big had a little wedge pattern, gapped up, came back down, supported. So my guess is we either have the biggest move on Monday and we get below 185, 198.50, or we gap up. With the market ripping higher today, now I have to go to this chart. Okay, when Tesla does, let me widen this so we can see. This is usually what I'm trading on. Okay, so typically when Tesla does finish really strong, high of day, or about high of day, and it's holding VWAP into the close, and you're going into a Monday, it typically gaps up. It typically does gap up. That was the last Monday was right here. This was a Monday, right? Everybody's like, oh, Tesla's gonna break down. It did support 198.50, came back up and exploded. There was a buyer. There was a very sloppy buyer. Like they didn't buy very good. They should have let it fall more. But you can see if I do trade, I'm trading Tesla typically, and it gapped up and it held VWAP into the close, right? And then it gapped up again, and then it sold off. So Tesla's tricky. It'll gap up, and then sell off, close the gap, blah, blah, blah. That's why I use that software to see what it's doing. But my instincts tell me there's a very good chance that it's been holding this level. Very good chance that we do gap up because we held above VWAP, that we gap up on Monday. And also putting into consideration the overall market is breaking out again. Okay. Now I could be completely wrong. Tesla is hard, definitely hard to trade, but that's my guess right now. My stop is 198.50. 198.50. If we get below that and hold below the level, then it's a no-go, right? I'll probably post another chart on TikTok later, but that's what I'm looking at. 198.50. This was tricky, stopped a lot of people out. We're not going to do trading right now, but that's kind of what I'm looking at for Tesla. Going back to the bigger term chart, it is still holding the anchored VWAP from the lows. We had support there, right? So volume weighted average from the low, still holding it. And the resistance level is actually the anchored VWAP from about 240. No, it's higher than that. Is it? Oh, I guess let's go to the highs, see where the highs are at. Okay, yeah. So if you go to the previous high, the volume weighted average, it needs to get above 205. So to be a little more or to be a lot more conservative or patient, you want to wait for it to get above 205. 205, 205.50, that would be above the anchored VWAP from the latest from 265. And if it holds this level, I think it's going to rip because we see the RSI picking up. The momentum is picking up slowly, slowly, slowly. So it's right between these two anchored VWAPs from the low and then from the high. A lot of pressure in there. If it breaks my trend and gets below anchored VWAP, I think it's probably going back to the lows. It's probably going to go back to the lows, right? Who knows? We'll see what happens. But that's what I'm looking at for Tesla at the moment. One biggest level right now. Okay, it's there's two levels on Tesla. 198.50 right here, 198.50 and 205. I guess you could say about 205, 205.50. I'll just say 205. It gets a little above it. It could wick above, but 205, 198.50. Those are the two extreme levels at the moment. Are the two most important levels. So if we got below this level, that'll be nasty on Monday, right? Would you say you talked before you were working on trading document? Have you finished it? Oh, the trading, the technical analysis. I'm working on the macro one first. I'm still working on the macro year resonance, the macro course, going into detail again. Um, Yeah, I'm still working on it. I'm not done with it yet. I want it to be good. I don't want to rush things. Okay, if anything is going to be good and quality, it's going to take time. So if something doesn't look good to me or it's not simple, I want it to here's the thing. I want it to be simple, concise, straight to the point. Okay? And original, not a copy of everybody else's content. A lot of people just copy what other people say. This is how I think about the market. This is how I process the information, how I've made some success here, watching the macro, watching the technicals, the fundamentals, and then also clear. It needs to be clear, concise, simple, and from me. That's why it's taking so long, because I'm not copying and pasting. It's straight out of my head. And I like to take my time. I'm not there yet, but when I'm finished, I'll let you guys know. All right. Any other questions before we get out of here? I'm pretty much done. YouTube, I'll shut you guys down first. I think we're done here. Maybe if you guys want to do a review, if you're still on, the review is basically I think we're early bull market still, early innings. Okay, March is where we might see some weakness. We might see some weakness in March. Bitcoin's up a lot. S&P new all-time highs, right? So we might get some weakness in March. Bank term funding program, but right now I don't know. I don't know, because the positive is that the dollar looks like it wants to roll over. So if the dollar keeps rolling over, we might not get that weakness. You need dollar strength to really get real weakness, right? So if the dollar happens to break out, we're definitely going down. But if this continues to trend lower, we might get another nasty melt up, and it might look a lot like the tech, early 90s tech rally when Netscape first came out with with the first web browser. The market just kept grinding and grinding, and then it had a nasty, trust me, there will be a nasty correction. There will be a nasty correction. So be patient. Do not chase. If you missed out, don't let your emotions get a hold of you. Do not chase. Do not chase. Green February, end of the green, most deep. Appreciate it. When do you think it'll be done? Um, Man, I want to finish the macro portion in April, bro. Okay. And I'm working on this every single day. Every single day. Sometimes I get stuck because I'm trying to be creative here. Again, I get stuck on it. I don't want to rush it because if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't matter, right? If it's too complicated, it's a waste of my time, because the way, I've been in the markets for a while. So if I make it to my level of knowledge and my understanding, not that I'm smarter than everybody else, it's not going to make sense. So I'm trying to make it very simple, and I'm testing people who've never seen the market or don't understand it to make sure it's very simple to understand. So hopefully by April, the macro portion will be done. Hopefully by April. And what that contains is how the economy works in relative to the stock market. It's not just the stock market, it's how the economy impacts the stock market. What are the leading economic indicators that I use for the level of economy, how strong it is, employment? What are the economic momentum indicators that give you the momentum? How you look at the market? There's a lot of history on there. How the dollar affects the stock market, how interest rates affect the stock market, how the Fed historically affects the stock market, how the credit cycle affects the stock market, right? So maybe it's a little different than what most people do. I really don't know what most people do, but I'm definitely working on this every single day. Stay patient. All I could say is the crypto bull market is going to rip this year. It's gonna rip. Hopefully, hopefully it comes out. Hopefully I'm done when there's a correction, because then it'll be like, oh, I get this. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, we'll see, bro. Hopefully by April the macro portion will be done. I don't even see the technical portion being done. I'm gonna just go over the technicals when I go live with you guys, and I'm gonna slowly work on the technical one, um, probably starting May or summertime. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna rush it, because it's gonna be worthless if I rush it. I'm gonna try to take my time. 100% yours. What else we got here? Sounds awesome. But yeah, thanks for asking. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for the support. Remember, be safe this weekend. Stay blessed. Eat healthy. Improve every day. Learn something new. Think for yourself, and stay blessed. I appreciate you guys. All right, have a good one. Lift weights. Eat healthy. Let's go.